In this podcast episode, Dr. Leanne Ten Brinke, a professor of forensic psychology at the University of British Columbia, explores the complexities of dark personality traits such as psychopathy, narcissism, Machiavellianism, and sadism. Drawing from her extensive research on manipulators, chronic liars, and toxic individuals, she helps listeners understand how to identify truly toxic people, recognize manipulation, and navigate interactions with those who exhibit these dark traits. The discussion also touches on the prevalence of such personalities in leadership roles, the possibility of change, and practical strategies for protecting oneself. Dr. Ten Brinke defines dark personalities as those characterized by heightened callousness, manipulativeness, and hostility. These individuals are not only manipulative in behavior, but also indifferent to the harm they cause others. Personality traits like these are consistent patterns of thinking, feeling, and behaving that persist across different contexts, making these toxic traits identifiable in various aspects of one's life, be it at work, family, or social circles. Recognizing these as personality styles on a continuum rather than rigid labels allows a more nuanced understanding and response. The conversation centers on 4 overlapping personality categories known as the dark tetrad: psychopathy, narcissism, Machiavellianism, and sadism. These traits often co-occur, and individuals may exhibit a combination rather than a pure type. Dr. Ten Brinke emphasizes that it is more insightful to refer to these as personality styles rather than clinical diagnoses, which helps spot problematic behaviors without hastily assigning definitive labels. Psychopathy is illustrated through the metaphor of a person wearing a smiling mask that conceals hostile and callous intentions beneath. It comprises traits such as callousness, manipulativeness, impulsivity, and antisocial behavior. Psychopaths lack remorse and guilt and tend to break both legal and social rules recklessly. While extreme versions evoke images of violent criminals, subtler manifestations appear in everyday life as superficial charm, rule-breaking, and exploitative behaviors often mistaken for ambition or confidence. Early warning signs of psychopathy include inappropriate emotional expressions, such as smiling when expressing hostility, combative conversational styles, boundary violations, and impulsivity. These individuals often interrupt others, refuse to be interrupted, and display an unusual calmness even when guilt or shame would be expected. Spotting these patterns consistently over time is key, since isolated incidents may not indicate a dark personality. Machiavellianism is characterized by a ruthless desire for status and control, accompanied by strategic and immoral manipulation. Unlike the impulsive psychopathic style, Machiavellians plan carefully, deploying tactics like flattery, gossip, and rumor spreading to climb social or organizational ladders. They are willing to undermine and exploit others without remorse, often creating divisions within families or workplaces to maintain or increase power. Gossip and what others say about these individuals can serve as valuable indicators of their Machiavellian behaviors. Manipulation involves using others purely as tools for personal gain, often through deception and distortion of the truth. While everyone influences others to some extent, the critical difference lies in the willingness to deceive and exploit without regard for mutual benefit or honesty. Recognizing manipulation requires awareness of underlying motives and observing consistent exploitative patterns beyond occasional, selfish acts or stress-related behaviors. Dr. Ten Brinke clarifies that normal humans can display callous or manipulative behaviors occasionally, particularly under stress, fatigue, or emotional overwhelm. Such behaviors are deviations from their norm. In contrast, individuals with dark personality traits exhibit these behaviors consistently across different situations and over time. Evaluating someone requires a broader perspective, avoiding quick judgments based on isolated incidents. Narcissism involves entitlement and exploiting others to fulfill exaggerated self-importance. It manifests in 2 main forms: grandiose and vulnerable. Grandiose narcissists display an unshakable inflated ego, overt arrogance, and aggression when thwarted. Vulnerable narcissists, while also entitled, are ego-fragile, defensive, and hypersensitive to rejection. Both styles seek admiration but differ in their emotional responses. Initially, narcissistic individuals may seem agreeable and competent, but over time their arrogance and hostility become apparent. Within families, Vulnerable narcissists often cause stress by demanding attention, using guilt trips, and reacting strongly to perceived rejection, such as not attending family events. Their actions stem from a fragile self-esteem that requires constant external validation, making relationships with them particularly challenging and emotionally draining. Sadism is defined as deriving enjoyment from the suffering or pain of others, ranging from extreme violence to subtle everyday expressions. Everyday or micro-sadism may be shown through enjoying violent sports, disturbing videos, or online trolling. While most people might experience fleeting schadenfreude, a pleasure in others' misfortune, individuals high in sadism engage repeatedly in cruelty and derive significant thrill from it. The distinction between seeing someone's misfortune as just desserts and taking delight in cruelty is nuanced. Experiencing satisfaction at the fall of a powerful adversary can be a socially acceptable response. In contrast, sadistic pleasure is consistent, deliberate, and often involves actively causing harm or distress for enjoyment rather than justice or fairness. Research shows that even untrained individuals can detect psychopathic traits with brief exposures, such as 5-second video clips, by observing behavioral incongruities like smiling while making hostile remarks. Psychopaths often exhibit an incongruent douche smile, interrupt others, and demonstrate frustration when their attempts to provoke conflict are ignored. These subtle signals can be important early indicators, but should be seen as part of a pattern rather than standalone proof. Dark personality traits are disproportionately common among leaders and people in power. The primary reason is motivation. They want the power and status and actively pursue it. Society often confuses confidence and charisma with competence, allowing callous, manipulative individuals to climb ranks through charm and bravado, even if their behavior is detrimental in the long run. Gaslighting is a specific form of psychological and emotional abuse aimed at making someone doubt their own reality, memories, or perceptions. It goes beyond mere disagreements or misunderstandings and creates a disorienting environment that fosters dependence on the manipulator's version of the truth. People with high dark personality traits often endorse and engage in gaslighting behaviors, which can be deeply destabilizing. Personality traits tend to be stable over time, especially without committed effort to change. Individuals with dark traits rarely seek or sustain such change since they lack motivation to alter behavior that benefits them. However, long-term, consistent therapy, particularly in forensic settings, can reduce harmful behaviors without transforming the core personality. Managing expectations about change is crucial for those dealing with these individuals. Dr. Ten Brinke advises slowing down judgments, taking time to observe patterns rather than rushing to label someone, and involving trusted others in assessing difficult individuals. Recognizing the difficulty of changing the other person, the focus should be on adapting one's own responses and boundaries to reduce harm and stress. Maintaining social support networks is essential for navigating these challenging relationships. Despite the distress caused by dark personalities, they represent only a small minority. Approximately 10% of the population show elevated dark traits, and only around 1% meet clinical criteria for psychopathy. Most people are honest and kind, and investing time in knowing others will often reveal more benevolent individuals than toxic. Awareness empowers people to better manage and protect themselves while not losing faith in human goodness.